we're diving into a realm that is really, really, can be really uncomfortable and even provocative. And we want to give ourselves the permission to speak freely. And we want to give you the permission to listen freely without trying to draw conclusions. This is not a debate. And like I said, we're not trying to crack anything. We want to shake the boat because there's so much pain and so much confusions. And we just want to see. We want to see anew. These are new times. Our conscious, like our collective consciousness is evolving. Yalla, we want to let ourselves the option to be refreshed.
We began to write this book while noticing that we put so much effort in the question of relationships. We try so hard. We look for ways to go about it. We feel so much pain. There is so much, we're keeping busy with relationships. And in a way, they don't become better. And the question of relationship becomes not only, it's not only that we occupy ourselves with it, but it's also that sometimes we despair. Sometimes we lay low so that we can somehow manage to continue to be in a relationship. We shy a lot. We shy away from who we really are in order to keep a relationship going. Fear runs many relationships, even the fear of thinking I would not say something so that he or she would not be irritated,
Get hurt,
despair, anger. And what we were asking ourselves in the book is, what if we stop the effort and we listen? What if we hang our running shoes on the wall for a while and see how it looks from there? What is happening to us when we stop this continuous struggle? What happens or what becomes possible for others while we do that? And also, we were concerned with the truth. What could you really see that's really there once you stop hoping or mourning whatever is there or not? Just really look. So that's why we call the book Omen, the book of hope, because it is a gate. It's not the final word.
So I will read 3 paragraphs that we wrote from the book. There are 2 dimensions, which are 1, a whole. Both of them together create our life experience, the experience of our reality. 1 dimension is the spirit, is the nature of everything. It's a mystery that is beyond our understanding and probably will always be. And we cannot define, we cannot explain, and we cannot comprehend with our minds and our 5 senses. The other dimension is the expression of this mystery in the material world. In this material world, the mystery or the spirit does have shape. It does have a form and features and circumstances and context. But all of these are just a constant changing expression of the mystery that is me and you and everything. one can experience this mystery in two ways, like this, what I just described, in two ways. And these two ways are fundamentally different. And the way they function in our life and the way they affect our life is fundamentally different. One way to perceive all of this, we will call these two ways FM and AM. So the FM lives while remembering this whole, which is two dimensions, and simultaneously see everything as a mysterious, constantly changing motion, which is one with everything. Therefore, everything in their reality, a person that is experiencing life through the FM, the spirit and the wisdom of this mystery is expressing itself in everything they do. They remember that everything is, first of all, this. And the material world is an expression of this. The AM will only capture and take in account the material dimension, which is visible to the eyes and five senses and understandable to the mind. For the AM person, the spirit and the mystery is an inspiring idea, a beautiful idea. This is like, yeah, wow, but it's not really something that you live by. Yeah, it's not really something you take in account. And therefore, the AM person will experience life as an individual, as a shape, as something in the world of some things that they get along or they don't get along. They can fit, they can not fit, they can be apart, they can bond, but the fundamental experience and the way they live in the world is a separation, a sensation and experience of separation.
For men, since they perceive themselves as separated and as these things that they mistakenly believe them to be, then when you're asked to step out of this place, they feel as if you're taking them into an abyss, because it's like you're taking them into death. You're taking them into a place that would either present misery, great misery, or death. Okay, because they can't perceive that, and they perceive themselves to be a thing.
Can we give a little example, a little one from daily life?
Yeah. A woman sits with a man in a restaurant. He's her husband, and they're going to celebrate the 13th birthday of their son. He's not even their oldest son, and they've been through things like that, decisions, many decisions before. And she wants to suggest that since his family is very religious, that they would this time make it possible for people whom are very religious to sit in a certain place, celebrating and seeing everything. And other people which want to be together, because in ultra-religious Jews, they separate between men and women. So she said, let's think maybe this time we want to do it differently. And what happens is that he immediately perceives it as if she says, your family is primitive. I think that I've had enough. You did not speak up to them the way you should have spoken to them. And that's why I rocked the boat. Okay, while she was thinking, we went to celebrate our anniversary in an Indian restaurant. we're having a good time. It's a really good time to open up a new possibility that I know that we both would like to at least consider. And if he says no, then it's okay. I see that it's very important for him, and it's no big deal. We'll find another way to do whatever I really wish to do. Maybe in another day, maybe with the children alone, it's possible. That's the example. So, and immediately it becomes a fight. And she says to me, I'm sitting there and I just cannot believe that this is happening. It's like, I don't understand where he's coming from, what was running in his head. And I'm telling you, he's a really nice guy. I know him and I love him very much. What's running in his head? What's the movie? Where does it take? What's the scenario? What's the end of this? It's absolutely like two universes, parallel universes that don't meet. And again, it's important to say the AM is not what men are. We have questions there in the book, which are not answered, but their soul is absolutely not AM. The soul is a soul. It is love. It is life-giving. It is infinite. It is light. And men and women alike have one soul. It's all one soul, and we all have the same soul.
We're all the different expressions of this one.
It's not only right, it's different, but the way that men are today and for a very long time, we've been asking in the book whether there is something in their DNA or something in their charisma, spiritual charisma, that they have to be that way in order for the world to exist and to flourish, and more importantly, for the revelation to keep on happening.
Again, where is the spiritual wisdom and the things as they are? That's why I said we're not trying to crack anything or fix anything. We want to really inquire, and from a very intimate and personal inquiring, not from the outside as if it's possible, but yeah.
The FM is infinite in the sense that everything is one here and everything is light, life, energy of life. So every shape that there is, every what we call thing that there is actually a manifestation of this one, and also a reminder, or more accurately, we might say it gives testimony to the one. Okay, by seeing this, I can see a child and say that it is beautiful and that I love him very much and that I'm very happy that I have a child that is who he or she is. But it's not the same as looking at them. And then, as my mother said to me before I gave birth to my oldest son, she said, you're about to feel the kind of happiness that you never knew. And it would be so strong and so filling and so in such abundance, like an ongoing and eternal fountain, that you would not be able to hold it in your body. It would be so awesome and so beautiful. And I remember that only by seeing her speaking to me about that, I could see, I could feel this realm that was not known by me before. And I couldn't even imagine that such a dimension existed. What FM is this infinite or infinity that once acknowledged, once we realize that we're not a thing, then we can also shed from ourselves, like taking off a coat or a scarf. You can once noticing that it was just your imagination, you've created the world by your thoughts, and these are not the truth. This is not how it really is. And you let it go in the sense that you no longer think that you're covered by it. Then you immediately see anew. It's not now you're looking and you're concluding and you're reading the situation anew. It becomes new. It's like, like someone took your glasses off and you haven't noticed that you were looking through red glass, and suddenly a whole world opened up. It's much more than that, but it's so the FM that is not afraid, for example, from edges, because once I reach an edge, the question that rises in me is, let's make the step that's beyond the edge and see what happens. Because I know that I don't end there. The world doesn't end there. Love doesn't end there. I've just reached this place, this edge, that is the border or the furthest point of who I thought I was.
Yeah, and for the AM, this would be simply an act of suicide. Exactly. Like taking this metaphor. And it reminds me of the tarot card, the Fool, that is about to take over a cliff, and we don't know we don't see what's under the cliff. Maybe it's just a step. Maybe it's deep and he will die, but he doesn't care because he's the Fool.
When someone is very attached to their character, to the way that they see things, to them being right, to the thought that other people come to challenge them and it's not good for them. Yeah, these are thoughts that women and men have. Okay, these are not only thoughts that men have.
Yeah, for sure.
The difference is that it's utterly different when it happens and the background or it's like, I see it as a wooden beautiful dish. I don't know why, but it's like where everything happens. If that is something that is AM, finite and in danger, or whether I think that when my inner knowledge is very alive, taking it to another level, if I am used to think that people just can create a good connection with me, and I walk in the world believing that. But after a few relationships that I had, I stop and I say, well, it cannot be, because something is wrong here, because it cannot be that one after the other, no one can really understand me or see me for what I am. Then if I'm AM, I would say either something is wrong with me, I'm fucked up, or I would say people are just impossible.
The world is fucked up, yeah. People are stupid.
But if I'm coming from FM, then I might say the same words, and I can also even the same number of times until I say, well, I don't get what's happening here. But then I would say, so what am I not seeing? Okay, the FM would say, where am I looking from, or where is my entry point to a relationship that makes it go sour again and again? Okay,
that is the extra step, actually. If
it's not the extra step, is where I'm going to in order to look from. Okay, men or AM they don't have any outside. Okay, it's like there's that, and that's all there is.
Where
So if I'm
am
not,
I, wait, where am I going to look from?
yeah, but making it simple because it sounds complicated. If I'm a man or if I'm AM, and I tried everything to make this relationship work because she's really, I care for her and I want to be with her. I tried everything, but it doesn't work. I would end up thinking then, okay, so either something is fundamentally wrong with me or fundamentally wrong with her or with women or with the world.
With us. Something is not working here.
Yeah, but if you were grown up, then you would know that it's not only here. That sometimes she left you and sometimes you left her, sometimes he left you and sometimes, but you can see a pattern. When you stop, the way I said now, is when you see that there is a vicious circle that you don't seem to get out of, okay? And that is a place, it's a good example to see how AM sees this, experiences this, and then also acts upon it, and what happens when FM does.
So AM will stop, will try everything, find solutions, they will not work, and then they will probably leave, right? They will say, okay, this is not working.
Or compromise. The FM knows that she has reached the edge of what she knows. Okay, the way she understood herself up till now, the way she understood the world up till now. But she would know that if I come to her, I as a friend, not as a coach, I would come to her and say, so let's look at things. She would know that there is a lot to look at, not to analyze, but to look at, because she would know that the reality that she's experiencing time after time is being created by herself and the way she sees the world. Okay, and that's a lot of the book is about that. It's about how, as women, we perceive the world in a way that causes us suffering and pain and disappointment and deep feeling of loneliness and alienation without us knowing this. We think we're striving for the best. Yeah. And yet we find ourselves so many times entangled into the world that we create for ourselves.
So not analyzing, but looking. And when I'm looking at something, immediately there's the observer and there's the thing that I'm looking at. And what we're used to do is focusing on what we're looking at. This is analyzing. Oh, what is here? Let's work with this. Let's figure this out. But what you're saying, the FM, is actually focusing on the observer. And then the wisdom, the whatever, is working differently. Mm-hmm. So what if we focus on being the observer and not be so busy with the content, the story, the thoughts, the opinions, what he said and what she said, and how is it right or wrong, or just, but kind of immediately when I say this, I feel that when you go there to the observer, you immediately relax. Something in you immediately is more relaxed.
Right. And it's not going to the observer. I'll just add, it's beautiful. Going to the observer is not going out of the situation.
Exactly.
It's not creating separation or distance. It is actually exactly the opposite. It is, instead of thinking that I am a player in a game that was set by someone else, I immediately can see that the reality that I'm living is being created moment by moment by me. But I am not the player. I am the creator. I am the person whom by the way that they look, perceive, and act, they create their reality.